Okay. Welcome back as everyone starts to join us again. Folks are starting to enter the room, so mahalo for being here with us. We are about to start our final presentation. I know, hard to believe it went so quickly. We're about to start our final presentation of the 10th annual Waikoloa Dry Forest Initiative Wiliwili Festival, 10th annual festival, first virtual edition. Mahalo for joining with us. We've had some great sessions. We've had some wonderful talk story with folks all across Mokuokeawe, from our friends down in Ka'u, working to protect some of the forest there in Kohala, along the Kona coast. And just like any other sort of gathering we would have in any other time, we want to conclude with food. Yeah? We'll have some ono ulu. That is, the Ulu Co-op is doing some wonderful things, making ulu more accessible to people, gathering the fruits of so many trees together to get it to a place where if we need ulu, we can go get ulu. It's extremely important work, and we're very appreciative to have Donna Shapiro from the Hawaii Ulu Co-op here, as well as Tom Menezes from Hawaiian Crown Chocolate. We're also going to have a cooking demo from a good brother of mine, Chef Kealoha Domingo. Before we get into that, we want to give folks just a little bit to get back into the session here. We want to, again, thank our sponsors. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to do this Wiliwili Festival, and their ongoing support, without which we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do. So to Waikoloa Plaza, Hawaii Forest and Trail, Hawaii Water Service, Waikoloa Foundation, Hawaiian Ethos, Hilton Waikoloa Village, Forest Solutions, First Hawaiian Bank, and NG Hawaii, mahalo to each and every one of our sponsors. We also want to acknowledge all of those who donated items to our silent auction, which is still going on until 6 p.m. So go on, get in your bids. We have artwork by a number of local artists. We have activities from Waikoloa Beach Golf Course, Body Glove Cruises, Hawaii Nautical. We have food gifts, gift cards for the most part. Big Island Brew House, Brown's Beach House at the Fairmont Orchid, Tommy Bahama, Juice Bar 101, Merriman's, Pauhana Pizza and Provisions, Starbucks over in the Queens Marketplace. We have some gifts from Soha Living. We're also super excited to have plants on our silent auction from the Waikoloa Dry Forest Initiative Nursery, as well as Keoho Nursery. Mahalo to everyone who contributed items, and to our super secret mystery donor who has pledged to match the proceeds of the silent auction. So every dollar you bid will result in $2 going to the worthy work of the Waikoloa Dry Forest Initiative. So please, please check out that silent auction. Also, check out our exhibitor booths on the Hoover app or the Hoover website. Lots of information there about folks doing really good, really important work on the Aina. So, having said all that, I'd like to introduce our presenters for our final session of this year's 10th annual Wiliwili Festival. Tom and Donna, how you guys doing? Where are you today? Where are you joining us from?
Aloha. We are in beautiful Hilo at Tom's Chocolate Shop.
Oh,
yeah, we're outside.
Right there.
We're in our patio, so we're outdoors covered, but turned out to be a nice day today in Hilo, so that's good. 160 Kilauea Avenue, downtown, right before KTA and right past Lucy's, if you know the Mexican food place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mauka
right?
side or Makai side of the road?
Mauka side of the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll be sure to swing by next time.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
It's like roasting cacao beans wafting through the air.
Yeah, I have a roaster right behind us here. and the cracker and winnower are there. So I do some of the processing outside here, and inside then we do the grinding and the molding and tempering and all that. So if you guys ever come to Hilos, please stop by, and I'd love to show you what we're doing with Hawaiian cacao.
Awesome. And for all of you who have not yet updated to the latest version of Zoom, the newest version includes smell. And I got to tell you, it smells amazing over there. Highly recommend the upgrade. No, but so with that, I'll hand it over to the two of you. Mahalo for joining us.
Mahalo for having us. We're stoked to be the final presentation of the Wiliwili Festival today. And I guess we're looking at, we can't see you guys, so we're just going to talk into the screen and trust that you can hear us. And so we were asked to just share a little bit about the Hawaii Ulu Cooperative first. So as Ilihia said, my name is Donna. I manage the co-op. Tom not only makes chocolate and grows chocolate, but is a co-op member. He grows ulu and pineapple and bananas on his farm. Yeah. And he's also on our board. So he is part of the governing body of the co-op. And that is essentially the foundation of the co-op model. It's owned and governed and directed by the farmers because they are really critical stakeholders in our food system, and especially in this nascent ulu industry that is just starting to sprout in Hawaii. And so the co-op model ensures that the benefits of the success of the industry as it grows goes back to the farmers and enables them to continue investing in their farm, keep the trees healthy and productive, and ensures that they're viable enough to stay in farming, because farming is a super challenging job anywhere, and especially in Hawaii, possibly more than anywhere else. And so with that, I'll just give you a little background into what the co-op does, and then we can start these awesome cooking demos, which I know is why you're all here. So the core operations of the co-op involve aggregating from our farmers. We have about 100 growers that are all member owners of the co-op. They're all located on Hawaii Island except 2 who are both in Hana, Maui. And we bring in the crop during season. We minimally process it by steaming and freezing so that it is available year round. And we also make a few value-added products like ulu chocolate mousse, which just launched in a bunch of grocery stores around the state. So check that out. And we diversified into other crops a few years ago in partnership with the Hawaii Department of Education, which was serving ulu on the school lunch menu at all 256 public schools statewide up until the pandemic. They still have not resumed purchasing, so we hope in the next school year they will. But the result of that diversification is that we now process kalo, Okinawan sweet potato, uala, and pala'ai orange squash. So we really have an array of local starches, and that's really our focus because Hawaii is so food insecure in the staple food category, which is a really precarious situation for the state. And so we're working to try to change that and to elevate the position of local starches, make them more widely available and more widely consumed. And that brought us to development of this Pahu Aina Avakea box, which essentially means lunch box, in partnership with Chef Kealoha Domingo, who's a dear friend and a Hawaiian cultural practitioner, as well as a chef. He has a catering company called Nui Kealoha. So we worked with him to curate a box that includes ulu pala, ripe ulu, minimally processed kalo, fully steamed and frozen, Tom's delicious Hawaiian grown and made chocolate, and local corned beef produced by Kaunamano Farm and the Waimea Butcher Shop. So we had 2 different purveyors of the beef because that was a really limited local item. And I will now start a little video so you guys can learn more about the ingredients and then hear from Kealoha about his recipes. And I'll just let you know real quick, we are sold out of the box. It was available on our website and we ran out of local corned beef was the limiting factor. But we hope to have it available again in about 2 weeks as the beef supply comes back. So we can talk more about that afterwards. Okay, and I'm just gonna share my screen and start with this one. Everybody see my screen okay?
Yes, looks great.
All right, Great. Okay, here comes the video.
We raise pigs on pasture. We feed them macadamia nuts. We feed them papayas, bananas, and then also some regular feed, and then of course the pasture. And we actually use the water that is the spring from the farm. And what happens is we end up with this really great flavored pork. During the pandemic, we started curating all these boxes from all the different farmers all over the state. We do all these added value products. Corned beef was one of them, and they were a big hit, but they were so hard to make. You gotta remember, there's only so much brisket on every animal. Every pig only has a certain amount of pieces of bacon, and it also takes a human to create all that stuff. In Hawaii, we don't have giant facilities. We have 2 or 3 guys in a kitchen, brining and cutting and smoking and curing, and I mean, everything takes 20 days at the very minimum. I mean, to make bacon, it takes a full month. So, you know, you got to find somebody that can do all those things.
Corned beef brings just a bunch of childhood memories, just about family, feeding everybody. So we're happy to put the corned beef in the box. We're kind of special because we have a bunch of different climates that raise great vegetables, great livestock. The food has to reflect the land. Try to do it as much as we can. Try to focus on different farmers. What are they growing? What type of season it is? And I think a bunch of people on the island are trying to do it as much as they can.
So our Baker's Ripe Ulu and our Recipe Ready Kalo, they come from small farmers from all over the island. We receive the ulu and we let it ripen, and that sort of dry storage ripening allows it to have this full flavor come into the fruit, and it becomes sweet and fruity. It wasn't really something that we intended to make. It just happened because we had so much fruit and it ripened. So we ended up getting creative and scooping the flesh out of the skin and putting it in this deep pan and steaming it until it was fully cooked. And this magical thing happened where the flesh became like a bread, like a sweet bread. And it's absolutely delicious. It really has that full flavor of ulu. And it happens to be my favorite product that we have, and just one of my favorite stages to eat ulu in. Kalo is a little bit different because you have the oxalates inside. And so if you eat it undercooked, it'll actually make your throat itchy. Kalo comes in from our farmers. We peel it and we steam it so that it's fully cooked. Having a kalo that is fully cooked makes it really easy to add kalo into your dishes at home. Currently, we have nearly 100 farmers in our cooperative and a couple in Maui. It means coming together so farmers have somewhere to bring their fruit, to bring their crop, and they know that they can get a fair price, and they know that their crop is going somewhere. And not only that, but going somewhere that's also going back to the community.
It seems like every time in Hawaii when we have a commodity, like I grew ginger and we did really well until the wholesalers decided they can get it cheaper from a foreign country. Ended up with guava that way, ended up with a lot of other crops, the tropical fruit trees. So I thought, okay, cacao would be a good one because everybody eats chocolate and the demand is way higher than what we could ever produce in our state. When I was in college, I liked plant pathology, which basically is a plant doctor. And I realized that I really enjoyed being outdoors. So I decided that I didn't want to be indoors staring at a microscope, all day long. And how many years later now? I've been farming over 40 years. I love farming. I love watching things grow. And I love to eat. It's good to grow what you like to eat. I love chocolate from when I was a little kid. Although now that I'm older, I'm more into the 90% or darker cacao, which is actually very healthy for you. Especially us old guys, gives us more brain power, which we need.
We're gonna take this in my favorite order. We're gonna do dessert first. So what we have today, we're working with some of this this beautiful overripe ulu or ulu pala from Hawaii Ulu Co-op. It comes in a handy little 12-ounce bag. The dish that we're doing today is called Pie Piele Ulu. This is a spin-off of a traditional dish. So I'm gonna add a couple of things that I thought might boost up the flavor a little bit. But of course, you have to have a lot of coconut milk. And this is about half a cup. You folks have the recipe. And I'm gonna add in this brown butter. Make sure you get all those bits on the bottom of the bowl. I'm gonna add that in here. Make sure you let the brown butter cool off for a little bit. You don't wanna add the hot brown butter to your coconut milk mix too quickly because you're gonna have a little explosion. So when you're browning this butter, you want to be really careful about it. You want to make sure that you use a medium-high heat, and you're basically going to be melting butter, and you're going to watch it convert from a yellowish color to a light brown color. I mean, hence the name brown butter. But the thing you want to be careful of, you want to keep that pan stirring. If you want to use a spoon, keep your butter moving because it'll burn. You definitely don't want to let it go too long. As soon as it starts to get light brown, you want to cut that heat off because brown butter can turn to black butter in a second, and that's not what we want in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a touch of sea salt just to bring out all those flavors. The butter is salted, and I'm adding just a touch of sea salt to bring out that distinct flavor a little bit more, and a little bit of this is homemade vanilla from my mom's pantry. That always makes everything taste better. So we're just gonna mix this up really well, like a pancake batter. You want to get all the liquid out. It should be the consistency of like a banana bread batter. So the other thing that we need to take care of is we need to go ahead and make our chocolate ganache filling. That's something that you want to make sure you do with ample time so that you can let it set up. If you want to do it, sooner than later, you want to do it the day before, that's totally fine. But if you leave it in an ice bath for roughly 20 minutes to half an hour, you should be good to go. We're going to go ahead and open that up, and we're going to break it up into some nice even pieces. And we're going to employ our culinary friend, Chef Mike, Chef Microwave. And it's really simple. We're just going to pop this in a microwave safe bowl for about a minute, roughly a minute and a half, till it gets nice and smooth. You don't want to overcook it because it might start to separate, but in a microwave it's really simple. Okay, so now that our chocolate is nice and melted, you just want to make sure you get all those lumps out. We're going to combine in this sweetened condensed milk. I'm actually using a coconut milk version of it today, but you can use whatever you got. Just get it mixed in there, and it's gonna help it to kind of stabilize. With 2 spoons, you're gonna just place a little dollop in the center, about the size of a teaspoon. Okay, so now I'm gonna let this ganache sit in the ice bath, set for maybe 15, 20 minutes until it firms up a little bit so that we can handle it. And then we're gonna go ahead and put it into the batter that we made. I've greased this pan with a little bit of coconut oil. I think this batter is gonna make roughly about 6 muffins. So we're gonna fill this up about 3/4 of the way. I think we'll get about 6 of them. And we'll just reserve a little bit for capping off the ganache. So we've had our little pu'olos of ganache sitting in this ice bath for roughly about 20 minutes, and it's getting kind of firm to the touch. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this to our batter. Just place a nice little dollop of that ganache in there. Now, obviously, if you let it sit overnight or for a little longer, it'll be easier to work with, a little less gummy, but it's okay to get a little chocolate on our fingers. We're gonna go ahead and top it off with a little bit of batter. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this sea salt and turbinado sugar just to top it off for a little extra pop, a little bit of pa'akai and sugar. So we're gonna put this in the oven, 375 for about half an hour. Okay, so now we're gonna work on our savory dish, and it is going to be Hawaii Ulu Cooperative taro and corned beef hash. There's something that is really important to know about taro. I mean, first of all, you know, it's very significant to us as Hawaiians. We look at it as our ancestor, Halo, Nakalau, Kapalili. You know, taro comes in many different varieties in Hawaii. You know, somewhere like 300 varieties of taro. Typically, taro wouldn't be used in a dish as a side dish or as an ingredient. It would be really the focal point of the meal. Generally, it's going to be eaten steamed and cooked like this as what we call kalapa'a, or it'll be pounded into a mash called poi, pa'iai or poi. You know, I really think that it's a great idea for us to take a moment to look into, you know, all the different facets of taro. So many different things to know between varieties. You can get different flavor profiles, you can get different colors, you can get different textures even of in your dish just by changing the variety of taro. Such a treasured ingredient. I mean, really our staple food in Hawaii. I know that this taro is a lehua variety that is procured by Hawaii Ulu Co-op. You know, again, one of my longtime mentors, you know, one of the biggest questions that were posed to him at many times was, you know, Uncle Jerry, what's your favorite taro? And his answer would always be the taro that's in front of me on my dinner table. And here we have some beautiful lehua, thanks to Hawaii Ulu Co-op. And we're gonna make a simple hash. You know, this is a dish that I grew up eating, you know, not this version, but, you know, we all grew up eating hash as a kid in Hawaii. Kala's gonna be working on the corned beef. You know, one thing about the corned beef is important. I would suggest that you cut it in the correct fashion. You know, you see the grains running the long ways. You want to cut it against the grains, and you know it's going to fall apart into a nice crumble. So he's going to go ahead and work on that, and I'm going to start working on the other mise en place here. So the taro is going to be real simple. I mean, like I said, it's already cooked, clean. They took all the work out of it for you. It's going to cut it in little half-inch cubes. Doesn't have to be anything, you know, super crazy. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and dump it out. Of course, I defrosted this taro, and it's you know, at a good temperature to cook. We keep it roughly about the same size so that we have a nice uniform cooking. But like us as people, a little bit of different size, you know, a little bit of different shape, a little bit of different color and flavor, and it makes us what we are. So I think that you know, we don't have to knock ourselves out to make it all perfect. But remembering that we're honoring this taro as our kupuna, so we always cook with love and aloha, and we put all our good energy into this, especially when we're around our kupuna haloa. So I got it all nice and cubed up. I'm gonna go ahead and combine this in here, and Kala's gonna start adding in his corned beef and his minced garlic. And in the meantime, I'll be working on some onions. It's a little simple dice here. Be careful. Use a sharp knife. And I'm just gonna give it a little. Oops, sorry. Take your time. And we're gonna. Doesn't have to be too fine, you know. It's gonna melt down and get a nice caramelization in there. So I use a half an onion, and while we're working on onions, I'm gonna go ahead and slice the rest of this one for our tomato relish that we're gonna go ahead and add on to this. With these green onions or scallions, I'm gonna give it just to give a little color. I'll put that all in there. For me, growing up with the corned beef hash, it was pretty traditional for us to have ketchup on it. And, you know, I'm not a huge ketchup fan, but I do like it on my hash. So I thought I would do a little relish that would kind of be similar to a ketchup. But so I got some heirloom tomatoes, and I'm going to show you guys a little trick how to cut these guys pretty quick and easy. I'm going to lay them into this little deli lid. Okay, so we're gonna cap that up there. Just get a little pressure on it using a serrated knife. It helps to use a serrated knife unless you get a really sharp knife, but just gonna go ahead and cut it up like that. It's good to go. All right, so this is gonna be our tomato relish. That, a little bit of the sliced onions and the minced garlic. Kala is mixing up our hash, and same with the relish. I'm gonna just give it a quick toss, and we're gonna head over to the stove. You know, we want to get it in a nice hot pan, because of course, like I said, the charro's already cooked, so is the corned beef. The onions only require a short bit of cooking, so we're gonna just put it in there long enough to get the onion reduced down a bit and get a nice little crust on our corned beef and our charro.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, like way
Okay, so this tomato relish, we use some heirloom tomatoes and some slivered onions, and we gave it a nice hot saute with a little bit of brown sugar, and we deglazed it with some apple cider vinegar, some nice minced garlic in there, and gave it like a sweet, tangy kind of flavor. And it's going to add a little bit of color and some acidity to this hash dish. Saute this relish until it's a little charred and reduced down just a little bit, sort of the consistency of like a salsa. Okay, so this is our Hawaii Ulu Co-op taro and Kaunomono Farms corned beef hash. Nice and hot, ready to go. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of this tomato relish that we sauteed up. Give it some color, acidity, and a little bit of sweetness. We got one on the ground there. And we're gonna just garnish it with a nice little bit of slivered scallion, just for fun. Give it some color pop, and that's our dish. We're gonna move right into dessert. Now that's what we've all been waiting for. So this is our Baker's Ripe Ulu PLA molten chocolate dish. I'm gonna put this right in the corner over here. Give you a little peek at this ganache. Ooh, look at that. And it's nice and gooey in there in that center, and look at that. Tomato, want to get a bite of that right there. Okay, well, thanks again for joining us and cooking along with us today. Once again, I'm Kealoha Domingo. And I'm Kala Domingo. We're Nui Kealoha, and the moment we've been waiting for, we're gonna eat. So let's try this.
All right.
Go ahead, son. Good bite here. I'm gonna get the dessert. Yeah. That chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, the relish is a nice touch. Does kind of remind me of ketchup, but way better.
Chocolate. Nothing wrong with chocolate.
Oh, George Comoko Jr. Robert Nagi.
Okay.
You guys still there?
We are here. Can you still hear us?
I hear you.
Oh, let me put my video back on.
There you are. Well, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. I expected to learn a little bit about chocolate and how to prepare ulu, but that like sandwich trick for slicing the cherry tomatoes, I'll remember that one.
Yeah, me too.
We have a couple comments. I'll take 2 plates, please. Yeah, if you folks have any questions that you'd like to ask our panelists, Donna from the Hawaii Ulu Cooperative and Tom from Hawaiian Crown Chocolate. Yeah, I just really had a good time watching that. Thank you for sharing. And you know, as we're watching this, it really demonstrated something that came up in our earlier talk today with Auntie Hannah Springer about how important it is to know where you are and know what you have available to you and maybe what things aren't available to you, and living within that space, and that living within that space doesn't have to be a constraint. You can actually live really well there or eat really well locally, you know, by acknowledging our place and what's available to us. So thank you for that work that you guys do.
Thank you. And I think Tom has something he would like to share with you guys. You want to talk about it?
Okay, well, I don't know if you can see this, but we've always made shortbread cookies, but this time we made it with some ulu flour. So it's our ulu flour shortbread cookie, and we dip it in dark chocolate. So it's really, really good. And Donna will get a sample.
I'll test that fact here in just
fact,
a second.
you can taste a little bit of that ulu flour, and it really adds a really good dimension to it. It's even better than just the regular flour. So we're going to start promoting this and try dipping it in different chocolates for different flavors. So what do you think?
It's delicious.
Delicious, yeah. It's a winner, so stop by. And then I think Donna has the recipe on the Ulu Co-op's website. So
we do. Ulu flour is one of our newer products. And we have an ulu flour tab on our recipes page. So you can go to our website, click ulu recipes, and then you'll see a sorting feature by ingredient. And this shortbread cookie recipe is up there, minus the chocolate dip. You'll have to come to Tom's shop to get that.
You can order the chocolate that I had in that box is actually our baking chocolate. So it's really good for baking. And if you want to order some, let us know. Our website, Hawaiian Crown Chocolates, and if you call us, we can deliver it or on the island, or we can ship it to you with our shipping pouches and things.
That's great. I think it's so awesome how there's so many ways to access these products. I feel like you've made that process really easy for us on our end through the websites. People are asking now if these recipes that were just demonstrated by Chef Kealoha are posted somewhere, or if those videos are available to the public so we can copy them.
Yes. So the videos are on our YouTube. You can, if you go to, I think it's youtube.com/Hawaii Ulu Co-op, you will find all of our videos, and the farmer's story video is under our product playlist, and the cooking video the cooking demo video is under our Ulu recipes playlist. And we are actually getting the recipes on our website right now in written format with like a print friendly PDF that you can download. And the videos will be linked in that recipe tab. The best way to get updates on when more stuff like that launches is just to sign up for our email newsletter. If you're not already signed up, I think you get 10% off your first purchase when you sign up. So that's a good option. Or just follow us on social, and we're pretty active. We communicate a lot of new stuff that comes through Facebook and Instagram.
Great, yeah, definitely. And can you just remind us, I know your lunch box is sold out, but if people wanted to get the ingredients to make this dish that we just saw demonstrated, when is that available and how do we get it?
So the box should be available again in about 2 weeks. In the meantime, our Baker's Ripe Ulu and our Kalo are available online. And as Tom said, his chocolate is available on his website. So everything minus the corned beef can be obtained right now pretty easily. We will send out a notification when the Pahu Aina Avakea is available again. And we're also going to be launching our next chef curated box in 2 weeks, which is going to center on ulu flour. Our guest chef is Chris Fujimoto, who's a culinary student at KCC, and he helped us create our ulu flour user's guide, which is a PDF on our website. And he's going to be demonstrating how to bake, bread, and thicken all with ulu flour. And the box is going to include a bag of ulu flour, Puna chicks, free-range chickens grown in Puna, and some white pineapple for a white pineapple crisp. So we should be launching that, as I said, in about 10 days. So not this coming week, but the next week.
So stay tuned for more exciting cooking demos and ingredient boxes from you guys.
Yes, and we're doing that for the same reason that this festival is online. It all started with the pandemic. So I guess that's one silver lining is there's more things available that can be delivered to your door, and it's forced a lot of us to get creative and work together and partner up. So
yeah, and thank you for that. This is a new relationship between our organizations, and I was really excited to hear all of these fun things that you guys have been doing to get your message out to the public. And it sounds like you have maybe benefited from this kind of forced situation in a way similar to us, where we don't want to be on Zoom, but we can reach people in a different way. And we kind of have to go back to our drawing board, our mission, and what we're trying to accomplish, and find new ways to share that with the community.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're getting ulu back into our diet. And back in the day when I was a starving college kid, I ate a lot of ulu, but it's so exciting now to see all the new flavors and recipes, and it just makes it like it's a gourmet item now, and that's why I call it back to the future. So we're getting used to eating ulu, but in way better, tastier ways now.
Yeah, it seems like these recipes and fun items that you're putting out are really piquing people's interest into this thing that people have been eating forever. And I hope that that's a successful endeavor for you guys. And I can't wait to get an ulu box.
It's a gourmet food now.
Definitely. Maybe it always was. We're just making it fancier these days. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. And what a fun way to send off the Wiliwili Festival. So we hope to see you guys again soon. And best of luck on the farm and at the co-op.
Thank you. Aloha,
okay.
everyone.
Aloha. Stop by when you get a chance in Hilo.
I can't wait. I will be there.
All righty. Aloha.
Bye. All right. So this is... hey guys, the end of our Wiliwili Festival. Congratulations to the WDFI team for making it happen. Here we are, muted in the forest. I just want to say special thanks to my team, Jackie and Rob. We have some of our future forester leaders there, Makeda and Sophia at the Forest Preserve, and a bunch of our volunteers that really made, hey Teru, made the Wiliwili Festival at the Preserve possible. So it sounds like we've had quite a few visitors in the Preserve, which is great news. The Wiliwili Festival is all about getting people out on the land and next to these trees so that they can learn and enjoy these special places and our beautiful Wiliwili trees. So huge mahalo to all of you guys out there for making that happen and making that accessible to the community today. And of course, we want to thank all of our speakers and all of our exhibitors who really came together in the same way that we would in person, but through this virtual hub to present their work and their passion and their ideas and their ike with us. I'm really appreciative of that. I've had a great time listening to the talks and presentations and virtual hikes with our Rob Yagi. Good job, Rob. I think everybody is a little bit more stoked about Wiliwili trees after your hikes today and yesterday. And huge thanks to our sponsors, our founding members, our business partners, our community who really made this all possible for us for 10 years. This was our 10th Wiliwili Festival, which is kind of an incredible thing to think about. And we had a really great time. So do you guys want to share anything? Final thoughts?
We talked to so many wonderful people out in the preserve, and we saw so many pictures of Wiliwili that were planted from past festivals. And oh man, we just thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. And yeah, hopefully we see you in the forest soon. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys. I had a lot of fun sharing knowledge and stories with lots of people. And so many good photographers came out and showed photos of the forest, and it was really cool. So thank you so much. And a huge thank you to you, John, for putting this all together and working so hard to make it happen as well. So thank you for that.
It is a Kako thing, as they say. So thank you all so much. For us, it is Pauhana, and we're getting ready to continue the party in the preserve. So mahalo to all of you guys who are in the background there setting up. We're looking forward to a great evening and another wonderful and the 11th annual Wiliwili Festival next year. We hope we can see you all in person then.